to the Palm Springs Unified School District regular board meeting of the Board of Education. Today is October 12th, 2021. Sorry for the delayed start. We had a little bit of a long session in close this evening. Okay, let's get started with the roll call and call to order.
President Wood,
Here?
Board Clerk Jarrell,
Here.
Board Member Cornett,
Here.
Board Member Espericueta,
Here.
Board Member Girardi,
Here.
and Student Board Member Corona.
Thank you. All right, this evening we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance led by student Christopher Vega from Mount San Jacinto. If you'll all stand, please. He's not up here yet, is he?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now for the mission statement, would Student Board Member Kiona Corona read that for us?
All members of Palm Springs Unified School District are united in our commitment to equity. We create deep, meaningful learning opportunities, build professionalism, and engage parents and community to ensure success for all students. All students graduate with the skills, capacities, and confidence needed to succeed in a rapidly changing world.
Thank you. All right, item number 6, report of closed session actions. Clerk Jarrell, are there any closed session actions to report?
The board concluded its appeal hearing pursuant to Administrative Regulation 1312.1 and will render a decision following deliberations.
Thank you. Item 7, approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I'll move.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That motion passes. Item 8. Item 8 is a special recognition. The governing board wishes to recognize the 2021-2022 student board member from Mount San Jacinto, Christopher Vega, and administer the oath of office. I believe that is going to be done by Board Member Cornett.
I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California.
That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California.
That I take this obligation freely and without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
That I will take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
And that I will well and faithfully discharge the dispute upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you all. All right, item number 9. The student board member reports will be presented tonight by Palm Springs High School student board member Kiona Corona.
Palm Springs High School. This is the list that I'm going over today for coverage at our school, and I hope you guys are all doing well tonight. To start off, our Indians beat the Aztecs 10-7. The Aztecs were on a 5-year streak since October 2016, and we beat them. So it was a big win. Next, we had our Spirit Week last week against our rivalry team, Rancho Mirage. Wednesday was our most spirited. It was Bring Anything But a Backpack Day, and my favorite is the Red Bull can. She was pushing it all over school. Very tiring. We did lose to our rivalry team. But it's okay. It was a good game and very good outcome for our Spirit Week. Some events coming up next week. We have our homecoming parade. It is October 20th downtown, and Palm Canyon will be closed to 1:30 to 5 for our parade. And we will be having our homecoming at the Palm Springs Air Museum. Next is our theater program. They're having a mime show in the Black Box November 6th. We will be having auditions for the Chicago play next month, and we will be having a fall play called Letters To. This is our orchestra conducted by Dr. Powell for Sings and Strings at the high school. And I have a little segment from one of the videos. Oh. How do I press play? That was our orchestra conducted by Dr. Powell. Next is our Palm Springs media. Here we have our class accounts if you like to see what is going on with our classes, and our Palm Springs High School homepage, and also our athletics to know what the sports games are, the scores, and it's run by Mike Ventura at our school. And that's the end of my presentation. I also want to say thank you for coming to next week to come to our homecoming parade. I just want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
That'll be it.
And Kiona, is there anybody in the audience you'd like to introduce to us tonight?
Here tonight, I have a few ASB members.
Nice. Thank you all for being here. All right, public comments, item number 10. All comments are to be directed to the board, be under 3 minutes, and shall be devoid of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during those public comments. Board members do not respond during public comments. So, beginning with email comments, Clerk Jarrell, have we received any?
We have no email comments.
Thank you. And telephonic comments, do we have any telephonics?
We received no telephonic comments tonight.
Okay. Great. And then for people in the audience today who would like to make public comment, first tonight we have from Palm Springs, Charlie Irvin. I think you can use this one over here. And just a reminder, you have 3 minutes.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Charlie Irvin. I speak quite frequently here at these meetings. Today, I just kind of wanted to maybe explain a little bit of some of the activities and some of the things that I'm involved in. This is in regards to the SRO officers. Like I said, my name is Charlie Irvin. I'm a board member with one of the original board members with the ARC, the organization, the ARC here at Palm Springs Unified School District. I'm also a president of the African American Parent Advisory Council. I'm also a football coach for the Cathedral City Youth Football League. I'm also a parent of a student here at two students here in Palm Springs Unified School District. Also a board member at Desert Highland Gateway Community Action Association. So as you can see, I'm pretty involved with our students and with the parents in the community here in Palm Springs. The SRO officers has been an issue or a topic that has been of great concern. After the August the 24th meeting, it was brought to the attention that the cities will pay 30% for the SRO officers. And, you know, us as APAC, we presented to the board about a year ago or so, brought up the attention of the SRO officers. We had no documentation, anything to represent anything. We have been working very hard to reach the point, and we're right here at the point, and it seems like the board has changed direction and has been misleading the public. Not only will they not pay the 30%, but we are keeping them, and also they're going to be getting paid more money than what they were before. So I'm just very concerned. I spend a lot of time. I'm vested in the community. I'm vested in our school district.
Excuse me, Mr. Irvin, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. I'm vested in the community. I come here all the time and speak to you guys about everything that's going on in the community, and I'm very concerned and very upset. I contemplate even coming here today because I feel like I'm not being heard, or the community is not being represented. Our students, our African American students, are having a difficult time and have a difficult time. It's been documented with law authorities. And we continue to wanting to keep law authority on our campuses. And not only that, we're spending up the money that could be going to more of our mental health issues, which I've seen on the presentation. So I'm just kind of disappointed that you guys.
Excuse me, you'll have to have your last comment.
Okay, I'm just kind of disappointed that you guys are keeping them and giving them, not giving the 30% as it was mentioned. I seen in the Cathedral City report that you will be paying them, I believe it's $174,000 for one police officer. And that was not what we spoke about in the August 24th meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Jacqueline Aviles from Palm Springs.
All right. Good evening, community members, school board members, Superintendent Swayze. My name is Jacqueline Aviles, and I am the general manager for Think Together here in Palm Springs. Think Together is a statewide organization that provides expanded learning supports and after-school services to over 400 school sites across California, anywhere from preschool all the way to high school. And in Palm Springs, we are very proud to serve the 21 school sites here in partnership with PSUSD. Think Together's mission is that to partner with schools to change the odds for kids. So we all know that back to school this year has meant more to our students than ever before. As we continue to rise together from an unprecedented year, we are seeing students come back to our after-school programs eager to learn, eager to work with our staff and our teachers, excited to be with the other students, and are ready to forge to their future ahead. At Think Together, we are so happy to be with our students in person again. In addition to Think Together's commitment to our students, after-school programs are a great value to the community here. According to research done by the National After School Alliance, there are over 600,000 students in California who are left unsupervised after school. Our after-school programs are not only here to provide safety to our students, but also access to academic enrichment and youth development opportunities. Our parents agree that after-school programs help students become more excited about their schoolwork and that homework help is beneficial to their students, and are grateful that our students have access to nutritious meals, physical fitness, and engaging opportunities. I am here in person this year. Last year it was over the phone, so I'm excited to be here in person with you to let you know that on October 28th, Think Together sites across California, including here in Palm Springs, will be holding their annual open house event called Lights On After School.
You have 1 minute.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Called Lights On After School, and our students are excited to show off all of the work that they've been doing so far through their creativity and the innovations from Think Together's expanded learning programs. So I am happy to invite you all to attend a Lights On event. We are hosting one this year on October 28th at Bella Vista Elementary School at 4 p.m. If for some reason you're unable to attend, we also have a virtual event that I will leave all the details for with Ms. Barragan and all the invitations so that you have that information. Thank you for your time and have a good evening.
Thank you. All right, next tonight, from Rancho Mirage, we have Michelle Mcmullen.
I'll try my best to keep it under 3 minutes. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Michelle Mcmullen. I'm here as both a mother and as an educator. I've been teaching for 20 years. It's my 17th in Palm Springs Unified, and honestly, it's a little difficult to be here today because I feel like so many in the district are family to me. But I'm here before you this evening speaking on behalf of our students, my children, and educators. The words diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging have been key words in our district this year, in our schools and amongst staff. I'm asking today to please not enforce a mandate of the COVID-19 vaccine for our children. By enforcing this mandate, which is not a law, we as a district will not be standing by the very words we so strongly believe in: diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Our families need to know we hear them, support them, and will not leave their children behind in their educational or athletic endeavors because of a decision that they feel is not right for their children. This vaccine has not yet had years of research and does not guarantee the safety of our children. It does not stop the spread of the virus. The vaccinated can still get and spread the virus. By requiring a shot and supporting this unprecedented mandate, we as a district will be segregating and discriminating against the very same families we claim to support. Families should have a voice whether or not they want to give their child an experimental shot without fear of their children being excluded, segregated, and possibly losing scholarships. Parents should not have to be forced to make a choice between public education and the fear of keeping their child safe against an unknown shot. We have already experienced a loss of enrollment due to the private sector due to previous school closures. This will exacerbate a loss of enrollment, my children included. If you find it in your best interest to enforce the mandate for children, I request that the district will reinstate the use of the religious exemptions and allow families like myself to exercise our faith. As an educator, I was recently forced to fill out a vaccine disclosure form. There was not
Excuse
an
me.
option. I see.
You
Thank
have
you.
1 minute, thank you.
There was not an option for prefer not to state, as my health is my own privacy. Today, I received an email from Mr. Senior A with directions for future mandated weekly testing in order to continue to do my job, because I did not want to reveal the status of my vaccination. The letter stated that if I don't follow the directions or do not comply, I would be put on unpaid leave. Why, when the virus can be transmitted by both vaccinated and unvaccinated people, does the unvaxxed or the prefer not to say have to have weekly testing while the vaccinated does not, even though they can still get and transmit the virus? If I have been exposed at work, I'm forced to quarantine or provide a negative test, possibly losing pay, while my vaccinated colleagues can still continue to work even though they can still transmit the disease. We are both capable of getting and transmitting the virus, yet there's much discrepancy in the way that it's handled between the two arbitrary classes of employees. Yes,
Excuse me, you'll have to have your
we've divided our
closing
school
comment.
employees and created two classes. My health choice will no longer be private. The Equal Protection Clause, which is part of the first section of the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution, mandates that individuals in similar situations be treated equally by law. If
Ma'am,
our district wanted,
your 3
can I
minutes
just
are up.
finish my last sentence? Thank you. If our district wanted to treat their employees without discrimination, then why would we not be testing both vaxxed and unvaxxed people? Diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and finally tonight, Sophia Gonzalez from Rancho Mirage.
Good evening. I'm Sophia Gonzalez, and as a CCHS student board member, I want to take this opportunity to share some events occurring on my campus and that are going to occur this week. For starters, in September, our equity ambassadors led a suicide awareness campaign where they decorated the hallways and promoted a spirit week. Our esports team just finished their Halloween tournament and has continued to prepare for their future matches. Our Interact Community Service Club, which meets weekly, is currently partnering with the HER Project to provide sanitary products to women. In our Heal Academy, seniors presented their sections of our school sim lab to students and staff. Within Heal, our HOSA Club held their club kickoff last week and had their first official member meeting today. For sports, boys water polo is facing Shadow Hills High today, and to commemorate Breast Cancer Awareness Month, our girls volleyball team had their pink out game last Wednesday and will be having their senior night tomorrow. Girls tennis, which is 22-2 in their league, is having their pink out game fundraiser tomorrow, and both the volleyball and tennis team will face Desert Mirage tomorrow. Our cross country team will also be having their DVL meet tomorrow at our school. Our football team is undefeated this year in game play, so good job and good luck to all our athletes. We're extremely proud of them. Also, this week is our 2021 homecoming week. Our dance theme is Flashback. This week commences with Tie-Dye Day, and tomorrow celebrates the 70s with Scooby-Doo Day. It is also our college kickoff and PSAT Day. Then on Thursday, students will support one of our 5 homecoming queen candidates by wearing a shirt of their candidate of their choosing. It is also our homecoming rally, which will take place in, for the first time ever, our football stadium, followed by our homecoming parade at the Cathedral City Town Hall, with performances and the display of the class votes that embody the spirit of the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, respectively. Friday is Dress Like a Relative Day and our Pink Out homecoming game against Coachella Valley. Our halftime show is packed
Excuse me, Ms. Gonzalez, you have 1 minute.
Thank you. Our halftime show is packed with performances and our long-awaited homecoming queen reveal. Homecoming week concludes on Saturday at our school's senior stage with our homecoming dance, our funky and groovy homecoming dance, the Flashback. This is a very busy week for Cat City, and students and staff alike are thrilled to be back and celebrate. I hope you enjoyed this insight, and thank you for this opportunity to share.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to item 11, board member comments. And do we have any comments from the board? Anybody? Yes, Member Sparaqueta.
Hi, good evening, everyone. And I want to start with in October 5th, I attend to the Zoom meeting from the Rainbow Creek Middle School. That one was the Counseling Advisory Committee. There was good information there, everything to support, how to find idea how to support a student in area that they need, like that increase the student connections, community outreach, parents newsletters, and also in October 6th, I attend to the ribbon carrying in the Nelly Cosman Middle School. That was the new concept for that middle school, called it Cougar Den, where they will provide opportunities to the students to learn about robots, about drones, about more about computers, and it's a good idea to prepare the student when they to be more prepared for the high school level. October 8th, I attend with all board members the Palm Springs Estates at the district. Was a virtual breakfast and was good information, good to see representatives for the whole Coachella Valley. And thank you, President, for your report, Gerardi, to help to put the whole information together. Thank you. And I want to invite also the community to the Cathedral City High School Homecoming Parade this coming Tuesday, October 14th, and we'll be in the Cathedral City downtown. Estimating the time will be between 4 to 5 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Board Member Cornett.
I'd like to say again, congratulations to our new student board member, Christopher Vega from Mount San Jacinto, and to our other board members that are, student board members that are here tonight. And also thank the people that got up in for public comments. We appreciate your opinions. I also just want to stress that Palm Springs Unified District has testing for COVID and vaccination clinics available at our schools, and the schedules are online. We always welcome input from our parents, our students, and our staff and community, and we appreciate you coming to the board and talking to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Girardi.
Yeah, excuse me. Basically, I'm just going to echo what my colleagues said. Thanks for everybody that came out and spoke to the board. We really appreciate hearing your perspectives. We take it very seriously. Christopher, welcome to the board. It'll be good to work with you this year. I also want to congratulate Nellie Kaufman Middle School for their Cougar Den. It's a technology and a STEM hub. I think that's going to be very valuable for our middle school students over there, as my colleague said. And I'd also like to congratulate staff for that State of the District. Tim, you and the staff did a great job. It really came off very well. It was really well attended. So again, congratulations, everybody.
Thank you. And Board Clerk.
Okay, good evening. I would like to just echo what all the board members said prior to my turn. Kiara, is that right? I am so glad for Palm Springs High School. It was supposed to be just an amazing game. That was a keeper in your memories, I'm sure. Congratulations, and thank you for your report tonight. I would like to also talk about the vaccine, dancing vaccine the district has, our vaccination ambassador and family, the Riveras. This is such a proactive district in helping everyone stay safe and be safe. So thank you again to all of our stakeholders and all of our community members who come together to work with our nurse, Laura Dyson, on this amazing movement. Also on October 5th, I had the honor of representing the district in Cathedral City at Nicolinos. I'll give a shout out to Mark Carnevale and thank him for hosting the Rotary Club. We had about 12 Rotary members with Dr. Sweezy and Joan Boyko, and we had a wonderful presentation there on that evening. 12 community Rotarians were there. I did have a chance to thank them for all they do across our community, and so I will also make that uniform statement. Thank you to the Rotarians for all of the books, all of the activities, all of the field trips, and all of the events they sponsor on behalf of our kids, as well as all of the other community groups that come to assist our students and help them grow. There's also, I was thinking about all of the people that, the first responders that go to our schools, because there are some days where kids aren't feeling well and they need more than just the support at schools. So all of our fire departments and ambulance drivers and hospital technicians, people that assist our students in an emergency. And if anyone is going to give anyone a kudos to helping a student after they get stung by a bee or something that's unexpected, we need to just remember there's a team at each site that works to triage and help our kids. So on behalf of the board, I extend my gratitude to all of our community members and our community partners who help to keep all of our students safe every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and let's move then to item 12, Superintendent's Report.
Thank you. Thank you, President Wood. I will skip several items so that I'm not repeating. Thank you, board members, for giving such a great update. We've covered lots of exciting things in the district the last few weeks. I do like to give a public health update, and so just so that you know, the current numbers for Riverside County have the case rate at 15.3 per 100,000. Just for comparison, in July, it was at 10.4, but at its highest point, it was at 34 per 100,000. So we're continuing to decrease, but not back to the level that we were before we started school at the beginning of August. Our current district dashboard shows that we have 19 students and 1 staff member with active cases, and those numbers have continued to decrease. As has already been mentioned, we are offering COVID-19 vaccination clinics, and testing is available 5 days a week for all of our staff and students. And that is also extended to the families of our students if there's a concern of an exposure. Just another public health reminder, we are approaching flu season, so hopefully everybody's thinking about what their plans are for getting the flu vaccine and what we can do to encourage people to get the flu vaccine this year. I have been really honored to be able to attend the board speaking engagements. And so I've been with every board member. I know Sergio is going to be speaking at our DLAC meeting coming up, and also at one of our parent events that's coming up here in the next couple of weeks. So I'll be there, happy to support him. The board members, you all do an amazing job with the community, and I can really see how proud you are of this district, and that in turn makes me very, very proud. You mentioned the state of the district and the legislative gathering, and so I won't repeat, but I do want to give a really big thank you to Joan, Erica, Monica, and Brandon, and they worked so hard behind the scenes to put together the event, including these wonderful boxes that all the board members have in front of them, and those were delivered out to participants in advance of the Zoom session. We have 2 special board meetings next week as part of our board retreat, and so I'm looking forward to getting to work with the board on October 19th and 20th. And then later this week, I will be speaking at the Palm Springs City Council meeting. That invitation came after an excellent conversation with the interim police chief for Palm Springs, Melissa DeMare. And she's no longer going to be the chief. I saw Palm Springs has hired a new police chief, but at the conclusion of our conversation, she invited me to come share at the City Council about the district and the SRO program for us here in Palm Springs, which I'll be speaking more to in the agenda in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you. All right, on to item 13A, board action items. Approval of school resource officer program agreements with Palm Springs Police Department, Desert Hot Springs Police Department, Cathedral City Police Department, and Riverside County Sheriff's Department for the 2021-2022 school year. And I believe, Dr. Sweezy, you're going to
Yes.
share this one for us?
Absolutely. And I said I'd be speaking on it in a few minutes, but that was more like a few seconds. So right away on the agenda. And I am sorry that Mr. Irvin, who made our public comment, and we do appreciate his attendance and comments at all of our meetings, isn't here, but I know because we're on YouTube, he'll be able to watch this, because I do want to address several of the questions that he raised during his public comments. I'm coming to you tonight on October 12th with school resource officer contracts. I did want to just be clear with everyone, because I know there's been some confusion about this. From the district perspective, my position as the superintendent and also that of our executive director in charge of safety and security, Mr. Levon Smart, contrary to what you may have read in the newspaper or heard on TV, we were not ever recommending the elimination of school resource officers. What we were doing is taking a really hard look at the program, looking at the funding, and looking at how the district uses them as a resource. And until we could come to the board, that I could come to you as your superintendent and say, I feel confident that we have good agreements with our law enforcement agencies, and we have an excellent plan for how we're going to work with those school resource officers in new ways on our school campuses, that I wasn't going to bring the contracts forward to you. And so I'm bringing them tonight because I am confident that we have that, and I want to spend a few minutes this evening discussing some of the changes that have taken place, but also sharing a little bit of the history of this long discussion in Palm Springs Unified. So you will note on this slide, I did not change the slide, and so there's a date up kind of in the upper right-hand side on the title. This is the exact slide that I presented on August 24th, so just so everybody knows, this is the same slide that was presented on the 24th. And you can see that when we started in 2019 and the board created a new position for Executive Director of Security and Disaster Preparedness, and then hired that new person to the position, which is Mr. Levon Smart, which was March 2nd of 2020. One of the very first things that we worked with Mr. Smart in terms of the superintendent and cabinet was one of the priorities was to take a very close look at our school resource officer program. And so there was an early presentation in July about school resource officers. And Mr. Smart, in his previous district, prior to coming to Palm Springs Unified, had worked with an SRO program there. And when he came here, he said, after spending some time looking at our program, that the way we were doing things in Palm Springs really hadn't caught up with where we should be or where we could be with school resource officers. And that was at his very first presentation there in July. Down at the very bottom of the slide, we asked Mr. Smart to look at the MOU agreements, to look at the duties and responsibilities, to look at the specific training that SRO officers receive, to talk about the selection process, to look at the time on campus, how they are interacting with students, and the percentage of the total cost paid. So again, that was in July of 2020. And so here we are in October of 2021, coming to you really with the results of this long period of work. Now, there was the worldwide unprecedented global pandemic that took place in the middle there, so I don't want to say that that was all that we were focused on during those months, but it certainly has been top of our mind and Mr. Smart's work as well. So you can see at the middle of the slide, we did a thought exchange survey, and we've heard from the board that the board would like us to use a different survey technique in the future. And we've already talked with some community members about how we might enhance that survey moving forward. The LCAP, which was funding the entire budget of the school resource officers, we started to look at how the LCAP funding could or should be used, and so that was taking place again in March of 2021. And then there was a presentation to the board again in June of 2021. We approved the LCAP budget, and then on July 27th, Mr. Smart made another presentation about the SRO situation in Palm Springs Unified and the role that SROs could potentially play. And at that meeting, again, we knew we needed to continue to work on revamping the program and continuing to work closely with our law enforcement partners. So at the conclusion of that July 27th meeting, we still had not entered into contracts with the law enforcement agencies, and instead Mr. Smart and his team and I met with all of the police chiefs from Desert Hot Springs, Cathedral City, and Palm Springs, as well as people from Riverside County Sheriff's Department as well. We talked about the vision for the program, we talked about the changes that we felt needed to be made, and we all reached agreement that together we could revamp and continue to provide high-quality service here in the district for all of our students at our comprehensive high schools. So I gave an update on August 10th, again, about the process with working with the SRO contracts, and again on August 24th. And since that time, again, Mr. Smart and his team, along with our purchasing department, have continued to work on those contracts, which we are bringing forward to you this evening. So also on August 24th, and this was mentioned earlier, this is what I shared with the board that we were going to do with the SRO program. And you'll see there that first bullet says that the law enforcement agencies will cover, on average, 30% of the cost of the officer. So in order to do that, we knew that we were negotiating with 4 different agencies, and each of those 4 different municipalities and the county sheriff's department, they all gave us different costs of the officers, and they all gave us different total costs. So Mr. Smart, in contact with each of those law enforcement agencies, asked for 2 things of each police chief or from the sheriff's department. Number 1, what is the total cost of an officer in your organization? And total cost includes more than salary. Total cost is all-encompassing. It includes health and welfare benefits. It includes somebody to supervise. It includes training. It includes the entire package that helps employ that person at the law enforcement agency. And then Mr. Smart asked, and what is the lowest cost that we can get a well-trained, high-quality SRO at each of our high school campuses? And I want to be honest with you. You'll see from the contracts that those costs from one city to the next are wide-ranging, which is part of our challenge to negotiate with 4 different, not that it's a negotiation, to enter into contracts with 4 different agencies. So we looked at the on average total cost that was provided to us and the cost that the district would be paying, and it does come out to 70%. And that, again, that number, again, I've provided to the board, but I'll be honest, as I've said, each city has a very different cost. And again, that's one of the challenges we have, working with all of the different agencies. I will share with you that the complete cost for us as a district is 10% less than was budgeted in the last LCAP. And so it is a reduction of 10% of what used to be in the LCAP budget as the total cost. And we reduced the LCAP expenditure from $715,000 down to $400,000. And so that's because we think the LCAP dollars could be more appropriately used for other things. And as you can see from the third bullet here, any difference between the $400,000 and the complete cost for us as a district would be paid out of general fund dollars or the COVID relief dollars, the federal support dollars. So that is a little background on the cost piece. And so still all three of those bullets that I presented to you on August 24th are still accurate, and that is why we're bringing forward these contracts. We wanted changes in the MOU, and really the changes to the MOU the last time we had all of our students on campus as well as our SRO officers, which was the 2019-2020 school year. We wanted to specify the training. We wanted to define the SRO's role as part of an overall team. We wanted to talk about collaboration between us and the agencies and the selection process so that we can play a role there. We also wanted to present to you ongoing program evaluation, which I have prepared to share on a slide this evening, and to promise the board and the community that we're going to gather stakeholder input throughout this whole school year and report that back to the board about SROs, our student support system, mental health on campus, and whether or not students and staff feel safe on campus. That overall support team is something new for us in the district, and so again, working in student services with our security department, they've defined this really high quality support team that will identify and support students who may have academic or behavioral problems and provide some systemic intervention. They'll be offering support to students and meeting regularly to discuss those students. But you can see the overall team that will provide that support includes many staff at the high school, and the SRO is one and an important part of that puzzle, but not solely. They need to be part of this overall support team. That support team will also include our mental health workers, our social workers, community liaisons, our administrators, our counselor, and our campus security officers. As was mentioned earlier, as we reduced the LCAP budget for school resource officers, we reduced it to $400,000 out of the LCAP. We increased other expenditures in the LCAP by $3.8 million that provide social emotional support and mental health support. We did this really to show that this is a comprehensive approach. We are not putting school resource officers on campus to do just one thing only. We're building these high quality teams that include behavior analysts, school counselors, social workers, mental health workers, and increased access for our students and families to the mental health support that they may need. Our program evaluation, we will be reporting to the board quarterly once we get the program up and running. The following things on a quarterly basis: the presence of the SRO on the high school campus, because that was a question the board had asked us. The presence of that additional staff. Have we been able to hire social workers? They're in great demand right now. We're working hard to hire them. What's been the participation in special events and after-hour activities? Have there been criminal incidents on campus that require law enforcement action? What classroom instruction has been provided and topics covered as part of this support system? What trainings have been provided and what topics have been covered? So what trainings are SROs participating in? How have those student support meetings gone, and what's the number of students that have been discussed and supported by those support teams? Then in an annual look, we will report on the total number of intervention plans developed. An intervention plan would be for each individual student. The total number of mental health or wraparound services that have been recommended or referred. We'll also look at the number of student support students who have improved in their behavior, improved in their attendance, their grades, etc. We will have survey results of teachers and students, administrators, and parents on their perception of the school resource officer program and the student support teams as well. The total number of criminal incidents on campus will be reported that require enforcement action, and the total number of students discussed and supported through the support teams will also be discussed. We've revised those agreements with law enforcement agencies, and again, Mr. Smart and our purchasing team have done a great job there, and they've included training, defined role as part of an overall team, increased collaboration, and the opportunity to participate in the selection process when that becomes available. So all of this together, all of the contracts included together for the district will be approximately $650,000 for a one-year contract for all 4 of the schools. As I mentioned, $400,000 of that will come from the LCAP, and the rest will come from general fund. So those agreements are attached in the agenda this evening, and I'd be happy to answer any questions from the board. But I am bringing these proposals, contracts forward to you for approval this evening.
Questions? Yes.
Yeah, another question, Dr. Sweezy. The first is a 1-year contract, and now we are 2 months after the school year start. That means that the school district is paying the all full year, even if they don't provide any service in these 2 months?
So no, it will be for services provided. We will only pay for the months that they have been providing services.
The other one, the amount that we have here don't reflect the 30%. And only to clarify to the public, the price for each police officer is more. Police SRO is more the amount that is here.
That's correct. So the cost that is in the contract is the cost that the district is going to pay. Each agency's total cost for the officer ranges from 10% more than that at the low to 50% more than that at the highest cost. And so that's why, as a complete look at the district, when you look at all 4 of those agreements, that's where the 30% came from.
The process in the contract, all contracts have similar language. In this contract can be canceled any times. How? By the majority of the board members or by the superintendent?
Right, so it wouldn't be from the board members. It would be with us within the contract. The ability for both parties can generally cancel. We have to give notice, and I'd have to look to get the exact
30
language.
days.
Yeah, but that is that's something that I would be able to do, or that the law enforcement agencies would be able to do.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? So somewhat along the same lines as what Board Member Espericueta was asking about, my expectation of us going in and saying we're going to have them paying 30% and us 70% was that we would see a fairly significant reduction in the amount of our cost, and this is not that. This is significantly, like, they took a 20% increase and then they paid 30%. This is far more than I think I personally expected.
So,
And remember, as part of this evaluation process, we want to be looking at, what are we getting for the amount of money that we're spending? And now we are spending even a significant amount more. And I don't remember the exact number for what it costs. What does it cost for one of our own security folks? But as I remember, we can afford multiple people for what one of these is costing us. And we were trying to bring some parity and equity back into that whole formula, but this just seems to have escalated it quite a bit.
So let me be clear and repeat. This is the overall, the total cost, including the general fund contribution, is a 10% reduction of the last budget that we had for school resource officer contracts. Yeah. So that is the specific savings. Each law enforcement agency, just like with a classroom teacher, the cost for that person increases annually. And so any increases that we may be seeing, again, the last time we had a full year contract was in 2019, was the last time we had again, a full year of an SRO contract. And again, this total amount still does reflect a 10% reduction in the last LCAP budgeted amount for SRO contracts.
Yeah, I understand that, but when we were talking about what are we going to spend this year, and I believe we approved, knowing that there may be more than what was going to come from just that one fund, knowing that there was going to be an ESSER fund contribution, but we passed a $400,000 budget for this, and this is significantly more than that, more than would have been contemplated other than just a de minimis amount, more than what was being taken out of LCAP, right? And I think I think it's significant. I think we need to be and I'm really trying hard to make sure that we are very transparent with ourselves and our community,
Right,
of how much we are really spending for
Yeah.
one person.
No, I completely understand that. And let me be clear, and again, I apologize for, honestly, the length of time and the way this process has played out. Never was the examination of the program by Mr. Smart designed to save money. It wasn't to save money. We looked at the LCAP funding in particular because the question there was, is this an appropriate use of these kinds of dollars?
Correct.
And we made a reduction because of the use. And the overall goal, again, was the 70-30% split. Not designed to save money, because I would say flat out, if our direction clearly was the top priority is to save money, I wouldn't be bringing a contract for $170,000
Right.
forward.
I understand that, and I agree with you that we never put Mr. Smart under the obligation of, you're here to save us money. But it was our intended purpose to make sure that the money that we were spending was being spent appropriately, and that's why when he looked at the program and said we should be paying 70%, not 100% of what these employee expenses are, one would believe that if you go from spending 100% to spending 70% of what that employee costs, you're going to spend less, right? Significantly more than 10% less.
So I do think I'm glad you're saying it that way, President Wood. So we approached the value for the dollar from the program side.
Yep.
And so that is why we took so long to develop a program and this comprehensive support that we felt was good value for the dollar, not to design a program that would meet a % of reduction.
Agreed. I will agree with you 100% and say, if we need to be explicit about it, our number one concern is the safety and security of our campuses, our students and our employees. That's absolutely true. It was not about $1 and cent. I agree with you 100% on that. I'd still say that these numbers are very high. It's much higher than my expectation would have been. Yep.
I just wanted to say that when we first started talking about the money, I thought we were talking about we would spend no more than $400,000 from LCAP. That's my recollection of what we discussed. And it does look like once you add up all of what we're spending for these resource officers, that it is actually 70% of their cost. I mean, it varies so much between the 4 agencies. It's unbelievable how much it varies. But if you take it totally, it is, saving us, us and only paying for 70%. And then the rest of the money we're taking from general fund, not from the LCAP. So I think in that way, we have stayed within what we agreed to.
Agreed, yeah. Anybody else?
I see the overall changes from when I entered the district to now. The changes in what we're going to do to see, with the bottom line is, what are we going to do to help students succeed and achieve? So if we keep the students' needs in mind and we're using an overall support team, this was never, ever discussed. This is a new innovation, and I think it's a great move in a positive direction. We're looking at program evaluation, outcome-based program that gives us metrics and reports. I'm not sure in the past that we've ever seen anything like that. This is going to help us know what our kids are doing, what we need to know to do what they need or what they don't need. So I really see that as a benefit. Number 3, the changes to the MOU, including training, defined roles, collaboration, and us as a district being useful in the selection process, is something I haven't seen or have known about in these past years. So I see those 3 positives as some new creative solutions that help us as a district advance our kids. And so for me, these positives are going to help us see what we can do to create a foundation that'll help us move forward and help us understand what is it that Palm Springs High School needs compared to MSJ. We could differentiate according to school needs and what's happening on campuses. We understand that this is a transitional year, these next 3 years, coming back from COVID, that we're not exactly understanding what's happening or what's coming in these next days or months or weeks. So I see that we and you, Dr. Sweezy, and the team that's worked on these MOUs have spent countless hours in helping us. And Mr. Smart, thank you for helping us develop something that we think will be effective and make a difference in the lives of kids. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Yeah, and yes, please.
First of all, in July, when we were talking about this, I'm sorry that it was perceived that we were misleading the public, because if I heard Mr. Smart the way I heard him, he was pretty much in favor of keeping the SRO program. Some of us up here, after discussing with him, had some concerns, but I never heard him say, let's do away with it. I heard him say, let's make it better. Let's make it more effective. It's all about resource allocation to me. And I'm not convinced spending $650,000 on SROs is the best use of the district's resources, to be honest with you. But I think you don't, what do they say, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There have been improvements to the contracts. I'm not happy with them. They're not perfect by any means. They're more excessive as far as pay than I believe they should be. I think we should just be paying for what we use. If we have a resource officer for 8 months because of all the time off when campuses are closed, that's all we should pay them for, is the time that they're on campus. And then the city should bear the burden of the full year, the residual for a full year contract with a police officer. But there are some strengths in there. There are some metrics we can measure. Some are more objective, some are very subjective, which will be difficult to measure. But I think, the way I'm looking at it right now, I'm going to support this tonight, but I'm going to take a hard look at it next year. Because I'm not satisfied. Everything I've read, particularly with students of color, SRO officers do more detriment than positiveness. And so we got to take a good look at that. Are we getting value and effectiveness for our money? So that's where I stand right now.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. I have to say that, you know, everybody has really put a different piece of this puzzle sort of together. And Mike, I want to make sure that there's understanding that while the finance piece of it is one piece of it, the entire program that you guys are constructing, I think is far more, is going to be far more effective than what we had before, right? Because putting all those support pieces in place are going to do far more good for our kids in terms of, especially from a prevention standpoint and for an intervention standpoint, than what we were doing before. So I think that's all exactly right. And to John's point, I think you're exactly right as well. This is about resource deployment, and is this the way we want to deploy this amount of resource? As well as, is this getting the effect that we expected from it or need from it, and whether our kids are benefiting from it, right? And so that's why we've asked Mr. Smart to do this, especially for this next year, and give us the metrics so that we can measure it and evaluate it and make sure we're doing the right thing. So, you know, but I do think it's worth acknowledging that I think this is more than what anybody would have expected based on our public conversations about it in the past. I think that's sort of where we're at this point.
I'll make a motion.
Okay? And may I get a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And thank you again to everybody who's put in time and effort on this individual effort. We really do appreciate it. Okay. All right. Item 13B, approval of agreement with Leadership Associates, LLC, through December 2021. And may I get a motion to approve, please?
More for approval.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And item 13D, approval of monitoring report governing policy R2.2, academic achievement, core academic disciplines in mathematics, R-2.2. I'm sorry, Dr. Kovac.
Thank you. I just wanted to remind everyone that at our September 28th study session, Dr. Pfeffer, Mr. Arnold, and I presented results from the 2020-2021 school year in mathematics and English language arts. And we also shared or identified actions that we had put in place and funded that we are working toward ensuring that our students will have positive outcomes in those two content areas. And this evening, we're bringing forth our monitoring report for approval in the area of mathematics. And this is really from that 1 year, 2020-21, and we're bringing that forth with the assurance that we're making reasonable progress with noted exceptions. And those exceptions were the context of pandemic-related school closures directly impacted overall performance for students at all grade levels. Also, systems for distance learning instruction and intervention were implemented to minimize learning loss and unfinished learning. And we're asking the board to approve our monitoring report with those assurances.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And may I get a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Right. 13E, approval of expulsion case 2021-2022-004, recommendation and findings of fact and conclusion of law, OE-11. And then we're also going to do approval of expulsion case 2021-2022-005, recommendation and findings of fact and conclusions of law, OE-11. Can I get a motion to approve both 13E and 13F?
Move for approval.
Thank you. Second?
With a heavy heart, I'll second it.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, 13G and 13H, approval of readmission of expulsion case 2019-2020-018 to Palm Springs Unified School District OE-11, and 13H, approval of readmission of expulsion case 2019-2020-029 to Palm Springs Unified School District OE-11. May I get a motion to approve both 13G and H?
Move for approval.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, 13I, adoption of resolution number 2021-2022-72, State Seal of Civic Engagement, OE-10. May I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Motion, or I'm sorry, item 13J, approval of new job description, Director of Health Services, OE 4.7. May I get a motion to approve?
Made the motion to move.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. 13K, approval of certificated and classified employee transactions, OE 4.4. May I get a motion to approve 13K?
Move for approval.
Thank you. In a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Aye. That motion's passed as well. Okay, item 14, which is superintendent consent items, and we're going to do items 14A through 14F. May I get a motion to approve those items, please?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. 15, board consent item, approval of minutes. Let's see, may I get a motion to approve the board minutes as of September 28th, 2021?
Move for approval.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Suggestions for future agendas?
Not tonight.
No? Okay. All righty. And item 17, next regular board meeting will be on October 26th, 2021. Debrief.
Isn't our board meeting the 18th and 19th?
Yes, there is. There's also a special board meetings on October 18th and October 19th, 2021. And may I get a motion? Do we need that motion? Move. No, we don't. Sorry. Debrief. Anything? Okay. And adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Any second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. That's